All right, YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video. Also, if you feel compelled to, leave a cash app at $ Kennard Stewart, KENNARD STEWART to support the channel. For those of you Auburn fans that have been giving the cash apps, I definitely appreciate and will continue to provide content on behalf of the Auburn Tigers. Go ahead and subscribe to Vernon Speaks Sports Auburn. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger War Eagle. So, Auburn goes down to Baton Rouge, wins for the first time since 1999. They called that one the cigar game. Auburn winning at 41-7. The players smoking cigars on the field. Basically a slap in the face to one of their biggest rivals. And, you know, as we look at how this Auburn-LSU rivalry has, you know, gained the steam that it has. For one, it's always a situation to where it plays a pivotal role as to the outcome of the SEC West. Number two, during that time, when Auburn won last in Baton Rouge, that was during the time Alabama was kind of on a downslide, and the Alabama-Auburn game didn't have as much steam as it kind of sort of does now. Alabama definitely outclasses Auburn from a talent standpoint. But it's always something that Alabama has to be concerned about when they come to Jordan-Hare Stadium. But the rivalry between Auburn and LSU really started to gain some steam in the mid-2000s on into where we are now. But the only thing is Auburn just couldn't beat them on the road. Had some opportunities. As a matter of fact, the best opportunity, in my opinion, was in 2017 when Auburn got up by 2 scores at least, having a chance looking like to blow LSU out, but just didn't do it. I think this is a huge win for the Tigers. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't always the most conventional way to win. You talk about the heroics from Bo Nix on 4th down situation, especially the pass to Tyler Fromm. The ultimate redemption game for Bo Nix. I would go and say in a hostile environment, arguably one of Bo Nix's better performances on the road against a Power 5 football team that, you know, is struggling a little bit, but LSU is still talented. Make no mistake about it. LSU still recruits some of the best talent in the country, and it showed in spots. You can tell this team is still trying to find their identity, especially without All-American Derek Stingley. And you can see the difference when he's not in the football game. But you talk about Bo Nix, though. 23 of 44, probably his completion percentage. I mean, missed catches are what they are. 23 of 44, 255 yards and 1 touchdown. Best performance on the road against a Power 5 team in a very, very hostile environment. You look at that game, it was super loud in there. And I think Bo Nix really responded well to all the adversity from this week, struggling against Georgia State, not having the opportunity to finish the game out against Georgia State. TJ Finley comes into the football game. TJ Finley, as we know, the transfer from LSU, which provides, and see, that's why, you know, we're not talking about necessarily a quarterback battle, but you got to have quarterback depth. TJ, you got to have a guy that's ready to come in, that's ready to roll, just in case some things doesn't work out. And I think Brian Harsin has done a good job of that. And he understood coming into this program that in order to win in the SEC, your second quarterback has to be just as good. I mean, you can't start both of them at the same time, but your second quarterback has to be just as ready, just as reliable as your first one. And he's proven that, and he's starting to, you know, he's given TJ Finley those reps in critical situations because the guy's got to be ready. You never know what may happen in this Georgia game to where Bo Nix might not be having the kind of game that he needs to have, or Bo Nix might go rock it out. But just in case, you definitely need that backup quarterback. And while we're talking about this is a different subject. I think going into this season, one of the heartburns of the Auburn fan base was how good would this defensive line be? Took a major step backwards after Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson departed. And the pressure up front just wasn't there. But, man, these guys were lights out as far as the defensive line goes. Lights out, recording 1.5, recording 3 sacks in this ball game. Auburn is on pace as a defensive line to probably have about 10 more sacks, or maybe more, we'll see, than last year. The full year 2020 football season, Auburn had 26 sacks the whole year. Right now, Auburn has 15 sacks and 78 yards of total loss, which is a big testament to this football game. Zacoby McClain definitely didn't disappoint. 12 total tackles. This guy is a tackling machine. He's getting it done. Derek Hall, who I would say he and Kobe Wooten can play rock, paper, scissors as to who was the best defensive lineman last night. Those guys really did a great job of continually disrupting the offensive line and putting the team in a position to be successful. Iku Leota, the transfer from Northwestern, provided a lot of pressure. The statistics doesn't really show it. He had one sack and also 1 tackle for a loss, but this defense is really starting to come into its own. And the thing about it is the defense is without T.D. Moultrie. I think T.D. Moultrie, once he comes back, will continue to help this team from a diversity standpoint as far as talent, and also to provide that extra speed on the edge for the Tigers. Tony Fair didn't play in this game much. Didn't see much of him, but I think, you got to have Tony Fair in more of a – I think he's definitely going to be utilized in this Georgia game because you got to have some of that size up front. LSU was the type of team that was going to spread the ball around. They really don't trust their running game at this point. And Tony Fair just not being in the ball game, that much was probably a testament to that. Just needed a little bit more speed on the defensive line in this game. Also, the big headline of last week, Cornelius Williams replaced as wide receiver coach. He was actually fired. Brian Harsin had nothing but good things to say about Cornelius Williams and his future. It just turns out it just wasn't a fit. So Eric Kiesau, former wide receiver coach, former offensive coordinator, definitely want to come in and get the job done because the wide receivers for Auburn are really not making it happen at this point. A lot of missed passes, a lot of routes that are not being run correctly. Right now, Demetrius Robinson with 6 catches for 60 yards, no touchdowns. Tyler Fromm with the heroic catch, helping Bo Nix out when Bo Nix was scrambling for his life in that early portion of the game. I think changed the momentum of the football game. Definitely really enjoyed that part of the game. Look forward to seeing some improved wide receiver play because you're going to have it. In the game against Georgia, Auburn has got to be able to throw the football because they are going to stack that line. They have some of the best athletes in the country on defense, and it's going to be slim pickings as far as the running game against Georgia. So they're going to have to find some seams, find some ways to loosen this this really tight Georgia defense up that doesn't give up any points. Arkansas did not stand a chance. Arkansas had a nice drive going. Probably could have got a field goal out of the game, but as far as a touchdown, nope, it was absolutely not going to happen. Auburn has the opportunity to be one of the first teams to score a touchdown on Georgia. Now, that's crazy to say, but Georgia is stopping everybody. And last but not least, what about the play of Jarquez Hunter? Jarquez Hunter is continuing to make plays, and we can't leave my man Tank Bigsby out because Tank Bigsby really stepped up as a senior football player, waiting his turn, waiting his opportunity to make some big plays, and he did it on some key third downs, catching the ball out of the backfield. Not Tank Bigsby, but Sean Shivers really, really did an excellent job of helping his team continue to get opportunities to win the football game. And in the end, Auburn wins the football game 24-19. Tank Bigsby, even though he wasn't as productive as we would expect, but he made some he made some plays when he needed to. He made some plays when he needed to. That key third down, he made a good play, and we look forward to seeing Tank Bigsby back to his former self. Back to his former self. I really look forward to that. But all in all, the offensive line still continues to struggle at the offensive tackle position, but we will see what happens against Georgia. Got some content coming up tomorrow as we start to preview Auburn versus Georgia. Really look forward to that football game. Always competitive, always very physical. You know Georgia's going to come in with that physical offensive line, that physical defensive line. Their wide receivers, their skilled players are very capable. War Eagle, guys. Like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And again, $ at Kennard Stewart for the Cash App. As always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger. War Eagle.